بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. We continue to our study of Jawami Al-Akhbar, the Shaykh Al-Allama Abdul Rahman Ibn Nasir As-Sa'di alayhi rahmatullah. We have reached Al-Hadithu Athani Ashar, the 12th narration, which comes عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله ولا تعجز وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل لو أني فعلت كان كذا وكذا ولكن قل قدر الله وما شاء فعل فإن اللو تفتح عمل الشيطان. Hadith reported by Imam Muslim. The narration, it reads that the Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, and in both of them there is goodness. Be diligent upon what is beneficial to you and seek the help of Allah, and do not become weak. Do not become weak, or do not let up. Don't give up. And if something were to afflict you, meaning something were to prevent you from your goal, and then did not say, if only I had done such and such, then so and so would have happened. However, say, Allah has decreed, and whatever Allah wills is. For indeed the statement if or lo, it opens the doors for the handiwork of shaitan. Hadith reported by Imam Muslim. As-Sa'di says, and we'll take a portion of the explanation, as this explanation is quite lengthy, so we'll take a portion of it tonight, inshallah ta'ala, and then switch to our other study of Al-Mulakhas Al-Fiqhi. However, As-Sa'di, he says, هذا الحديث اشتمل على أصول عظيمة, that this narration, it contains tremendous principles with kalimat jami'a, and comprehensive words. That this is amongst the things which our beloved Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam was given, Jawami al-Kalam, and this is what this narration, or this book rather, is based upon. Jawami Al-Akhbar, or comprehensive narrations and words that are inclusive of a number of benefits that can be extracted from them. And this is from the examples of that. So this hadith, it contains inside of kalimat jamia, words that are jamia, that are comprehensive. فَمِنْهَا إِثْبَاتُ الْمَحَبَّةِ صِفَةً لِلَّهِ. So amongst the things that this hadith contains inside of it is the establishment of the attribute of love for Allah. As this is amongst the attributes of our Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, that He loves certain things and certain individuals. He has love. Now, it's not like the people of innovation say that love is not proper to describe Allah Azza wa Jalla with, because love is indicative of weakness and the likes of this. Well, this is the love of the creation. The love of the creation is not like the love of the Creator. Now, the love of the creation, yes, it may be accompanied by something from that. Maybe the love of the creation makes them weak to some degree for the individual whom they love. But the love of the Creator cannot be compared to the love of the creation. Now, and so it is a love that is befitting of the majesty of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, and befitting of His perfection and His greatness and His wisdom. So in this narration lies the affirmation of this attribute for Allah of love. وَأَنَهَا مُتَعَلِّقَةٌ بِمَحْبُوبَاتِهِ, and its connection, the connection which this love has to the mahbubat Allah, those things that He loves, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. وَبِمَنْ قَامَ بِهَا وَدَلَّ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهَا تَتَعَلَّقْ بِإِرَادَتِهِ وَمَشِيَتِهِ. And likewise, who that love is connected to, as is established by the evidences from the Kitab and the Sunnah, and that which is connected to the irada of Allah, yani that which Allah Ta'ala wills, and that which Allah Ta'ala wants to bring about. أيضا تتفاضل. Also, the hadith shows us and displays to us that the love of Allah تتفاضل, that it is variant, meaning some things He may love, but some other things He may love more than those other things, right? Some things He loves, but some things He loves more. For example, the believers, right? His love for the believers, it varies. Now, and the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, even though there's goodness in both of them. So we see that the love to tafadul, it is variant in terms of its levels and degrees. Now, ودل الحديث على أن الإيمان يشمل العقائد القلبية. Likewise, the narration proves to us, indicates to us that Iman, it comprises aqa'id qalbiyya, and our belief system which we have inside of our hearts, wal-aqwal wal-af'al, and likewise statements and actions. And this is the madhab of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah in the issue of Iman. That Iman, it is statements, actions, and beliefs. It is qawlun bil-lisan, statement of the tongue, wa i'tiqadun bil-qalb, and what we believe inside of our heart, wa a'mal al-jawarih. Similarly, it is actions that we do with our limbs. It increases and it decreases. And this narration is amongst the strongest evidences of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah for this belief system that we have regarding Iman. Now, we know that Iman, as the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, it is a bid wa sab'una shu'ba. It is 70 some odd branches. It is 70 some odd branches. The highest branch is the statement, La ilaha illallah. Wal adnaha imatatul adha an tariq. The lowest branch of Iman is to remove something harmful from the pathway. Wal haya'u shu'batu min al-iman. And faith, or excuse me, modesty or shame, is a branch amongst the branches of Iman. This is extracted from a hadith of the Messenger of Allah alayhi sallam. It is a clear evidence in the belief of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah that Iman is statement, action, and belief. Right? He said the highest of it is what? The statement. La ilaha illallah. Here's your statement. The lowest of it is imatatul adha an tariq. It's removing something harmful in the pathway. That is your action. Wal haya shu'batu min al-iman. And haya is an affair of the heart. Haya is a branch of Iman. That is an affair of the heart connected to our belief system. Now, so the Shaykh, he says that وهذه الشعب, these branches التي ترجع إلى الأعمال الباطنة والظاهرة, which goes back to and points to and indicates actions, both outward actions as well as inward actions, كلها من الإيمان. All of that is from Iman. All of that is from Iman. All of the branches are from Iman. فَمَنْ قَامَ بِهَا حَقَّ الْقِيَامِ. So whoever establishes that, as it should be established, وَكَمَّلَ نَفْسَهُ بِالْعِلْمِ النَّافِعِ وَالْعَمَلِ الصَّالِحِ, and he completes himself by way of beneficial knowledge and righteous actions, وَكَمَّلَ غَيْرَهُ بِالتَّوَاصِي بِالْحَقِّ, and similarly, he aids and assists in the completion of other people by way of advising them with the truth. وَالتَّوَاصِي بِالصَّبْرِ, and advising them with patience. Then this is the mu'min al-qawi. This is the strong believer. This is the strong believer. Now, الذي حاز على مراتب الإيمان. He has accomplished the highest levels of Iman. ومن لم يصل إلى هذه المرتبة, whoever does not reach this level, then he is the weak believer. He's the weaker believer. Now, we want to point to and indicate something. And it is the strength that is being spoken about here. What is it, right? Since Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, he says that since it is the Iman, or the strength here, is qualified. I mean, he says that the strong, what? The strong believer, right? Since he said the strong believer, then what is being spoken about here, the strength is being spoken about here, strength in Iman. It's strength in Iman. However, some of the scholars, they say that it is not restricted. It is not restricted. Now, because the most beloved of the people to Allah are those who are the most beneficial to His servants, right? So any type of strength which the believer may possess, then it is something that will make him better and more beloved to Allah, right? So whether it is strength in the body, as the one who's physically strong, he can aid Islam and the Muslims with his physical strength. The one who's intellectually strong, he's intelligent. Now, he is better and more beloved to the one who's intellectually weak, because he's beneficial to the slaves of Allah Azza wa Jal. Similarly, the one who has strength in his eloquence, right? And so, whatever type of strength the believer may possess, now, he is better in that regard and more beloved to Allah than the one who does not possess that strength. Now, however, what is being spoken about is the strength of Iman here, as he connected it to the believers, like saying a strong man. I mean, he's strong in his manhood. The strong teacher, I mean, he's strong in his teaching method and his teaching style. The strong, wrestler. Like this, Since he says strong believer, what's being spoken about is strength in terms of iman. Now, but again, we point out that some of the scholars say it's not restricted. هذا من أدلة السلف على أن الإيمان يزيد وينقص. So this narration, it is amongst the evidences of the Salaf that Iman increases and decreases. وذلك بحسب علوم الإيمان ومعارفه. And that is all in accordance with the ulum, the teachings connected to Iman and the knowledge that is connected to it. And likewise, in proportion to the actions that the servant does. هذا الأصل قد دل عليه الكتاب والسنة في مواضع كثيرة. And this foundation is something which is proven by the Kitab and the Sunnah in many places. ولما فاضل النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام بين المؤمنين قويهم وضعيفهم خشي من توهم القدح في المحظوظ. And so, after the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام clarified the variation in levels between the believers, between those who are strong and those who are weak, he clarified that there's a difference in terms of their virtue, right? The stronger ones are more virtuous than the weaker ones, right? It is as though the Prophet ﷺ feared that someone would hear that and then begin to criticize the weaker believers. So therefore, he had to clarify and say, وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. In both of them, there's goodness. In both of them, there's goodness. Out of fear that someone would misunderstand that and think that, okay, we're going to criticize every believer who may be weak now. Now, he said, وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ وَفِي هَذَا الْاحْتِرَازِ فَائِدَةٌ نَفِيسَةٌ. In this type of precaution that he took by clarifying, now, in this lies a tremendous benefit for us. In this lies a tremendous benefit for us. وهي أن على من فضل بين الأشخاص أو الأجناس أو الأعمال أن يذكر وجه التفضيل. And it is that whoever differentiates between people, for example, you're speaking with speech and you're differentiating between some of the people who you're speaking about, right, by way of their virtue, or between different categories and classes of things, or between different categories and classes of actions that people may do, you're clarifying that some are better and more superior to others. Now, he says that you should clarify why they are better and more beneficial. Clarify why there's a distinction. He says that نعم ويحترز بذكر الفضل المشترك بين الفاضل والمفضول. And likewise clarify the fact that that you clarify the shared virtue rather that there is between the fadil and the mafdul, the superior thing and the inferior thing. Clarify the shared fadl, the shared virtue that is between them, as the Prophet did within the hadith. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. In each of them there's goodness, right? Now, he says that now وَلِأَلَّا يَتَطَرَّقْ الْقَدْحِ إِلَى الْمَفْضُولِ. And this is in order that no one will begin to think that we can now become critical of that which is inferior to the superior thing. نعم وكذلك في الجانب الآخر. And on the other end, إذا ذكرت مراتب الشر والأشرار, if you go on to clarify مثلا the different levels of evil or evil people, right? And you mention the variation between them, like this one is more evil than that one, for example. This one is less evil than that. Now, and like this, he says that ينبغي بعد ذلك أن يذكر القدر المشترك بينهما من أسباب الخير, that you go on to clarify the level of shared, for example, evil that there is between them, right? Both of them are evil, for example, but this one is more evil, right? You clarify the level of shared evil that there is, or if there's goodness in it and the likes of this, then you clarify that as well. Now, we want to draw attention to something, as the Shaykh is mentioning this. This is not what is referred to as al-muwazana, right? Al-muwazana, what Shaykh Rabihi refuted in his well-known book, The Methodology of Ahl Sunnah, in criticizing individuals, books, and groups. There is a concept that he refuted in this book as well, and that is called al-muwazana. And that is that when someone refutes an innovator, for example, someone refutes an innovator, Then some of the people of bid'ah, they say that if you refute him and speak bad about him, then you must also at the same time mention his good qualities. And this is not correct. It's not correct, because the situation here does not call for that. Rather, the situation here is a situation of nasiha and advice for the Muslims, and warning them against the evil that there lies in such an individual or such a book or such a group of individuals, right? This is what the situation calls for. It's simply warning. It does not call for speaking about their good qualities and their virtues. And there are many proofs and evidences to necessitate this, right? Allah Azza wa Jal, He refutes Fir'aun. Allah Azza wa Jal, He refutes people inside of His book. And no doubt the people have something from them of strength, of wealth, of riches, and the likes of this, something from them of good. He didn't mention any of that. He simply mentioned their evil. He simply mentioned the evil which they had with them, so that those who are listening can beware of the evil which they had within them. So we just want to make that distinction. Now, so the Shaykh says, well, if you have the hadith, in this narration as well, lies an indication that al-mu'mineen yatafawatuna fil khayriyah. The believers, they are all variant in their levels of goodness, right? Of course, you have the ulama and the salihun, the scholars and the righteous. Then you have students of knowledge. You have those who are just awam, who are laymen, and they're striving to just take care of themselves and their families. And there's levels of virtue between all of them, right? There's levels of virtues between all of them. So he says that, so the believers, they're like this. يَتَفَاوَتُونَ فِي الْخَيْرِيَّةِ وَمَحَبَّةَ اللَّهِ وَالْقِيَامِ بِدِينِهِ. And they all vary in the levels of love which they have for Allah, and likewise, similarly, that which Allah Ta'ala has for them. And their establishment of His religion. People are varying in their levels of establishment of that. Some do it to the best of their ability, and they are they're forerunners in this regard. And some maybe follow a middle course. They're okay. And some, by the permission of Allah, they wrong their own souls. The Shaykh, he mentions this. He says that وَأَنَّهُمْ فِي ذَلِكَ دَرَجَاتٍ, that people are at various levels as it relates to that. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِمَّا عَمِلُوا, as Allah Ta'ala says. And for each, they are of variant levels in proportion to that which they themselves do. وَيَجْمَعَهُمْ ثَلَاثَةُ أَقْسَامٍ. And so what brings this together is the three aqsam, or categories and classes, that are spoken about inside of the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. هُمَ الَّذِينَ قَامُوا بِالْوَاجِبَاتِ وَالْمُسْتَحَبَّاتِ. So at the forefront, right, you have those who they do that which is obligatory upon them, and they do that which is even recommended. So they fulfill their obligations, and they go the extra mile doing as well that which is recommended. وَتَارَكُوا الْمُحَرَّمَاتِ وَالْمَكْرُوهَاتِ. And they leave off that which is haram, and they even leave off those things that are simply disliked, right? They leave off all of that. He says, وَفُضُولَ الْمُبَاحَاتِ. And they leave off as well an excess, going to excess in the mubahat, in the permissible things. وَكَمَّلُوا مَا بَشَرُوهُ مِنْ الْأَعْمَالِ وَاتَّصَفُوا بِجَمِيعِ صِفَاتِ الْكَمَالِ. He says, and they complete that which they do establish from actions. They complete those actions in a perfect state and condition, and they are described with every attribute of completion. So this is the first level, right? It's the first level. And then you have a second level. He says, ثُمَّ الْمُقْتَصِدُونَ. You have those who follow the middle course. Those who follow the middle course, or the middle way. الَّذِينَ اقْتَصَرُوا عَلَى الْقِيَامِ بِالْوَاجِبَاتِ وَتَرْكِ الْمَحْظُورَاتِ. And the middle way, so the first level, as we have described, they are those who do everything what is obligatory upon them. And likewise, in addition to the obligations, they do the extra deeds as well, right? They do the mustahabbat, that which is recommended. And they leave off the haram. And not only that, they leave off as well that which is disliked, and even leaving off the excess or the surplus permissible things, right? That may, because as we mentioned before in the lesson, too much of even things that are permissible can become harmful, right? Too much laughter, for example, as the Prophet said, that it kills the heart. Too much eating, right? And what that does, and from hindering a person from fulfilling acts of ibadah and acts of this, too much drinking, too much sleep, right? All these things are harmful, even though they're permissible affairs, even though they're permissible, right? So he takes from those permissible affairs that which he is in need of. He leaves off that which he is not in need of, from the permissible things, right? This is those who are at the forefront, the foremost in doing good deeds. Now, those who follow the middle way, they are a level down from them, a level down from them. And so he mentions, for example, they suffice with establishing obligations. They do what's obligatory upon them, right? Everything that's obligatory, they don't fall short of any of that, right? And they leave off that which is impermissible. They don't fall into the haram, right? But this is it. This is it. They don't do the extra things, right? They may fall into, even though they don't do the haram, they may do some of those things which are disliked, right? And they may overeat, they may oversleep, they may overdrink, and so on and so forth, right? From the permissible things. May laugh a little bit too much and joke too much. And like this, right? So they are in the middle. They're in the middle. But then the last or the bottom level, the lower level, are those who wrong their own souls. Those who wrong their own souls. الَّذِينَ خَلَصُوا وَخَلَطُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَآخَرَ سَيِّئًا. They are those who mix up good deeds with evil deeds. They do some things that are good and they do some things that are evil, right? So these are the variant levels of the believers. As the Shaykh mentions, that the believers are variant in terms of their levels. He mentioned, احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله. Be diligent upon what is beneficial to you and seek the help of Allah, right? And so this statement of his, alayhi as-salam, is an indication that the servant is, one, to be diligent upon what is nafi', upon what is beneficial to you as an individual, and that which is beneficial to you may not be beneficial to me, right? And vice versa, right? Maybe I'm a person who likes to work with my hands, right? Maybe I'm a person who's skilled in a particular trade, and so I study that trade and I perfect that trade, but maybe you're not good with your hands like that. Maybe you're good at some other aspect. Maybe you're good with your mind. You're good at figuring things out, right? So what is beneficial to you may not be beneficial to me, and vice versa. So find what is beneficial to you and be diligent upon it. Be diligent upon it. Now, whatever that may be, whether it is in the deen or in the dunya, what is beneficial to you, you seek the help of Allah. احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله. Be diligent upon what is beneficial to you. Seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jal as you embark upon it. ولا تعجز. And so he says, احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله. He says, kalam jamid. It says kalam, it is speech that is comprehensive and it is beneficial speech. محتوى على سعادة الدنيا والآخرة. It's something which will bring about, if we implement it, happiness and joy in the dunya as well as the akhirah. والأمور النافعة قسمان. And affairs that are beneficial are of two types of categories, right? Umur al-diniyya and umur al-dunyawiyya, right? They are affairs of the dunya and affairs of the deen, right? Affairs of the dunya and affairs of the deen. Something may be beneficial in your dunya, some beneficial trade, some beneficial job, something that will bring revenue and the likes of this, and then there is religious benefit. وَالْعَبْدُ مُحْتَاجِ إِلَى الدُّنْيَوِيَّةِ. And the servant is in need of both. You're in need of beneficial things in your dunya. You need things that will benefit you in your dunya, just as you are in need of things that will benefit you in your deen. فَمَدَارَ سَعَادَتُهُ وَتَوْفِيقُهُ عَلى الْحِرْصِ وَالْاجْتِهَادِ فِي الْأُمُورِ النَّافِعَةِ مِنْهَا مَعَ الْإِسْتِعَانَةِ بِاللَّهِ. So he mentions three affairs here, right? That which will bring about that joy, that happiness in the dunya as well as the akhirah. It is connected to three matters, right? That we get inside this narration. Firstly, that the servant, he has diligence. He is diligent. He has hirs, right? He has diligence upon what is beneficial. Secondly, he makes ijtihad fil umur al-nafi'a minha. That he works, he strives to bring about those things that are beneficial from that, right? Firstly, you are diligent upon it, not just that you desire it and wait for it to fall out of the sky. No, you actually get up and work for it. You strive to bring it about. Now, and then thirdly, you seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jalla in doing so. You seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jalla in doing so, because we cannot do anything without Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now, He says that, and so that مع استعانة بالله تعالى فمتى حرص العبد. So once the servant begins to be diligent upon affairs that are beneficial, then he works and strives to attain them, taking the asbab and the turuq, and you take the means and you take the path that will bring that about. وَاسْتَعَانَ بِرَبِّهِ, and he seeks the help of his Lord Azza wa Jal in attaining those things and bringing them about. كَانَ ذَلِكَ كَمَالُهُ. This is something which will bring about completion for him, and it is something, or this is the pathway to falah or success. مَتَى فَاتَهُ وَاحِدْ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْأُمُورِ الثَّلَاثَةِ. So, and if any one of these three things he misses out on them, then he misses out on good in proportion to that aspect, that thing that he has left off. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ حَرِيصًا. So he explains what he means by that, right? We mentioned three things. So whoever loses one of them, then you're going to lose goodness in proportion to that one thing that you lost, right? What does he mean? For example, he says if a person, he says that if a person is not diligent upon what is beneficial, rather you're lazy. He's lazy, he has no drive, no determination to bring that about. He says that, he says, lam yudrik shay'a. He's not going to attain anything. He will not attain anything. For laziness, huwa asl khayba al-fashr. Laziness, it is the foundation of destruction and the foundation of inability. You're just not having drive. You're not driven. فَالْكَسْلَانِ لَا يُدْرِ خَيْرًا. So the lazy one does not attain goodness. وَلَا يَنَالُ. He will not attain nobility. وَلَا يُحْظَى بِدِينٍ وَلَا dunya. He's not going to have any portion of goodness in the deen nor in his dunya. مَتَى كَانَ حَرِيصًا. Now, if a person is diligent, he does truly have ambition, he does truly have a desire for goodness, ولكن على غير الأمور النافعة, but he's not ambitious for good things, right? He has drive when it comes down to doing the haram. He has drive. Yeah, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get Shorty. I like her, right? He's driven for that, for the haram. He says that إما على أمور الضارة, either he has drive and determination for harmful things, or he has drive and determination for things that are just not beneficial. Then that drive that he has, the determination, that diligence that he has, it will not yield fruits. It will not yield fruits that are beneficial. Rather, it will yield fruits of destruction. And he will miss out on goodness, and he will attain evil and harm. فكم من حريص على سلوك طرق وأحوال غير نافعة لم يستفد من حرصه إلا التعب والعناء والشقاء. For how many people are diligent? They're diligent to traverse upon certain paths that are not beneficial. In reality, he does not benefit anything except wearing himself out, tiring himself out, and misery. Moreover, he says that if the servant does traverse upon beneficial pathways, and he is diligent upon them, and he strives to attain them, none of these things will bring about anything unless he is truthful in his returning to Allah Azza wa Jal and seeking to bring those things about. He says, وَالْإِسْتِعَانَ بِهِ, and seeking his help, عَلَى إِدْرَاكِهَا وَتَكْمِيلِهَا, in acquisition of them and in completion of them. وَأَنْ لَا يَتَّكِلْ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ وَحَوْلِهِ وَقُوَّتِهِ. And he should not simply rely upon his own strength, his own ability, his own know-how and the likes of this. Yes, you need these things, but don't rely on them alone. Rather, Allah Azza wa Jal, He is the one that will bring that thing about for you, right? So therefore, seek the help of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now, very important. بل يكون اعتماده, rather his i'timad at time, outwardly and inwardly, should be upon his Lord Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. His reliance should be upon his Lord. وبذلك تهون عليه المصائب. And if he seeks the help of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, right? You seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jal, then when difficult times come to you, right? When difficult times come to you, it's not going to mean much to you, right? Because you're putting your trust and your reliance upon Allah, and you know that if Allah Ta'ala wants to bring that thing about for you, it's going to happen. If He doesn't, it's not going to happen. So you won't be, discouraged by difficulty and hardship. وَتَتَيَسَّرْ لَهُ الْأَحْوَالِ, and as things, change and alter within your life, then those things will be simple and easy for you to bear. Now, and this will bring about for the servant goodly fruits and benefits fi amr ad-din wa amr ad-dunya, whether it is a religious affair that he hopes to attain or some worldly affair that he hopes to attain. لكنه في هذه الأحوال محتاج بل مضطر غاية الاضطرار إلى معرفة أمور التي ينبغي الحرص عليها والجد في طالبها. But it is a must. It is a must that as it relates to these things that he knows the affairs which are proper and befitting that he should be diligent upon, and he be serious in the acquisition or the seeking after of these things. You must know that. So the affairs of the nafi'a fi deen tarji ila amrayn. So what is beneficial in your deen, it goes back to two matters. Religious affairs that are beneficial, it's going to go back to two things, right? Firstly, ilm al-nafi', beneficial knowledge. Secondly, righteous actions. Beneficial knowledge and righteous actions. He says, as for beneficial knowledge, it is that knowledge that by way of it, a servant will attain purification of his heart, purification of his soul, right? Any knowledge that will bring that about, that is beneficial knowledge. And it will bring for you happiness in the two abodes, in this life as well as the hereafter. And it is that which the Messenger of Allah alayhi has come with from hadith, tafsir, fiqh, and other than that. وَمَا يُعِينَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ, and likewise that will aid you in attaining that knowledge, right? Fiqh, tafsir, these things, whatever will aid you in attaining that knowledge from the tools like the Arabic language, right? Arabic language is a tool. It's not the goal, right? Such that when you learn Arabic, then you've arrived, you made it. Rather, Arabic is a tool by way of which you can acquire beneficial knowledge. Now, in proportion to al-Arabiya bihasabi halat al-waqt, in proportion to the person's time and the place in which he lives. وَتَعْيِينَ ذَلِكَ يَخْتَلَفْ بِاخْتِلَافِ الْأَحْوَالِ, and specifying what you're going to focus upon from these affairs of knowledge, it varies person to person based upon their situation and their circumstances. Now, and so, and likewise in proportion to the person's ability. So he gives you a very beneficial pathway, and we'll stop after this and we'll transition to the to Malakas, inshallah. So the Shaykh, he mentions how, for example, right, and this is what the scholars advise when seeking knowledge, whatever branch of knowledge that you intend to study, right, what you want to do is, and I'm going to summarize the Shaykh's kalam here, is find a short risala in that field, in that science, right? A short book in that science, and memorize that book, right? You study Aqidah, for example, it's your short book in Aqidah, Usul Thalatha, right? Quad al-Arba, the likes of these short rasail, right? Memorize it. And when you memorize it, right, you get along with it the shuruhat of the ulama, or perhaps you sit in beneficial lessons and classes in that book and the likes of this, but you memorize the text. And if you can't memorize it, right, then you want to make, you want to repeatedly read the book. Read the book repeatedly so that it is shib al-hifz. It's like they say, it's though you memorize it. You know, sometimes you read something so much, you're so familiar with it, you can visualize the page in your head, right? I know that this point is on page such and such towards the bottom of the page like this. You read it so much, it's as though you memorized it, even though you didn't technically endeavor to memorize it, right? He says, but you read it like this. You make takarrur in reading it with tadabbur, right? With contemplation and reflecting upon what you're reading, right? He says that so that the meanings of it will be firmly embedded inside of your heart. The meanings of it are going to be firmly embedded within your heart, right? And so you work your way up. You start with the with all the science that you intend to study, whether it's fiqh, find you a short recital like this in fiqh, memorize it. You're studying seerah, get your short recital in seerah. Like and Nawawi, he has a seerah of the Prophet alayhi wasallam, very short, concise, in points, few pages, right? The most important aspects of his life. And like this, memorize it. If you can't do that, read it repeatedly, right? You find you short books like this, whether it's, whatever it's hadith, right? 40 hadith for Nawawi, for example. Memorize 40 hadith, all right? You can do it in 40 days, right? Or less, right? And so, whatever you intend to study, this is how you should go about it. And then this is the beneficial path which the ulama advise with. Now, but in doing so, right, you seek the help of Allah. Seek the help of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. Don't think that you're going to do it on your own. Don't think that you're independent and not in need of Allah azza wa jal. Rather, you need Allah tabarak wa ta'ala even to tie your shoe. Right? Even to tie your shoe. Right? Very beneficial point before we stop this, right? That Sheikh Rashid Barbie, he made and he brought out from an experience that he had. And I advise with the brothers to go back and listen to a short recording he did after he was on the plane that kind of almost went down, and Allah Ta'ala, saved the inhabitants of that plane, those who were on that plane, and made it level out, and brought everybody to land safely. But one point that he brought out was that, how much of a helpless feeling this is, being, 40,000 feet in the air, and the plane starts going down, and but after landing, the point of reflection that he brought out was that the reality of all of us is that we are no less in need of Allah here safely on the earth than a person is 40,000 feet in the sky. Right? Person 40,000 feet in the sky, you feel, a real sense of need, but he's no more in need of Allah Ta'ala than we are right here, safe in this masjid, on the ground, on this carpet. Right? We are all in need of Allah Ta'ala, no matter what your situation may be, no matter where you are. So when you endeavor to do anything to benefit yourself in your deen or in your dunya, seek the help of Allah Azza wa Jal in doing that thing, whether you're trying to get married, whether you're trying to learn some aspect of beneficial knowledge, you're trying to get a job, you're trying to get into some business and trade, whatever you're doing, seek the help of Allah Ta'ala. We are all in need of Him Azza wa Jal in all of our affairs. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khaira. We'll switch. You had something to say? No, well, that ayah comes in rebuke. It comes in rebuke of feeling safe. Right? Getting to a point where you feel safe and secure with whatever you may have of strength or faith or wealth or knowledge or whatever the case may be. Right? And so those who begin to feel safe because they have acquired something of deeds or knowledge or whatever, this verse comes in rebuke and censure of those that amin or that feeling safe. We likewise transition now to the book of fasting from Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, and we pick up this evening from Bab fi Bid Siyam al-Yawm wa Nihayatihi, chapter at the beginning of the fasting day and its end. The beginning of the fasting day and its end. قال الله تعالى, Allah Ta'ala said inside of his book, وحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن. Made permissible for you on the night of fasting is to be intimate with your wives. They are a covering for you and you are a covering for them. علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم. Allah knows that you used to deceive yourselves. فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ. So He accepted your tawbah. وَعَفَى عَنْكُمْ. And He pardons you. فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Now you can be intimate with your wives and seek that which Allah has written for you. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ. And so eat and drink until the white thread becomes distinct to you from the black thread. مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ of Fajr. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. And then complete your fast up until nightfall. This verse, it demarcates the beginning of the fasting day and the ending of the fasting day. And we'll go through that inshallah ta'ala in that which is to come. Imam Ibn Kathir, he said about this verse, هذه رخصة من الله تعالى للمسلمين. In this verse lies a concession from Allah for the Muslims. وَرَافِعٌ لِمَا كَانَ عَلَيْهِ الْأَمْرِ فِي ابْتِدَاءِ الْإِسْلَامِ. And a removal of that which the affair was upon in the earlier days of Al-Islam. فَإِنَّهُ كَانَ إِذَا أَفْطَرَ أَحَدُهُم. Because it used to be such that when one of them broke their fast, when a person would break his fast at Maghrib, نعم إنما يحله الأكل والشرب والجماع إلى صلاة العشاء أو ينام قبل ذلك. Then it would only be permissible for them to eat and drink and to be intimate with their wives between Maghrib and Isha, or until one of them went to sleep. فمتى نام, so once a person went to sleep, أو صلى العشاء, or he prayed Isha, then at that point it became haram for them to eat and drink and to be intimate up until the next night, up until Maghrib, until the sunset the next or following night. Now, فَوَجَدُوا مِنْ ذَلِكَ مَشَقَّةً كَبِيرًا. And so they found great difficulty as it relates to that. فَنُزِلَتْ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ. So this verse was sent down, and they rejoiced at it فَرْحًا شَدِيدًا. And they rejoiced at it greatly. حَيْثْ أَبَاهَ اللَّهُ الْأَكْلَ وَالشَّرْبَ. For Allah Ta'ala, He allowed eating and drinking and intimacy في أي ليل شاء صائم, and any portion of the night that the fasting person wished. إلى and up to the point wherein the light of sabah, of the morning, became distinct to them from the darkness and the blackness of the night. Now, so this verse, inside of it, فتبين من الآية الكريمة, it becomes clear from this noble verse, تحديد الصوم اليومي بداية ونهاية, and the beginning and ending of the fasting day. So the beginning of the fasting day is من طلوع الفجر الثاني, from the appearance of the second fajr. We spoke about this before or last week, how al-fajr fajran, that the fajr is two, right? They are al-fajr al-sadiq or al-fajr al-kathib, the false fajr and the true fajr. Right, the false fajr and the true fajr. And so the second fajr, which is the true fajr, that is what is described in a verse when he says the white thread becomes distinct from the black thread of fajr. Right, the white thread is going to be on the bottom. Right, this is the light of day or the light of the morning as it is coming up and appearing, and it shoots horizontally. Right, when the sun first begins to rise, you see a little bit of light going vertically, right? As described as being similar to a fox's tail. That's not the true fajr. The true fajr is the horizontal light that goes across the horizon. So when that light comes this way, the darkness of the night is on the top, right? And it's the darkness of the night that's departing, while the horizontal light that goes that way is the fajr as it's coming in. That's the beginning of the fasting day. So this makes the prayer obligatory, and it makes eating haram for the one who's fasting, right? The end of the fasting day is Ghurub al-Shams, is the setting of the sun. And we mean the disk of the sun, the circular part of the sun. It has set. The circular part of the sun has set, but you still may see some light in the sky. But the circular, you don't see the disk anymore. You don't see the circle part of the sun anymore. That's the end of the fasting day. Now, and in Allah Azza wa Jal allowing eating and drinking, and likewise intimacy, up until the appearance of Fajr, is an evidence that it is recommended to take suhoor. It's recommended to take suhoor. In the two Sahihs, it comes from Anas that he said, that the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam, he said, "Tasaharu fa inna fi suhoori baraka." He said, take suhoor, eat suhoor, and that is the pre-dawn meal, right? Eat suhoor, because indeed in the suhoor there is barakah. Indeed in the suhoor there is barakah. Now, he says that وَقَدْ وَرَدَ فِي التَّرْغِيبِ بِالسُّهُورِ آثَارٌ كَثِيرًا. And many narrations have come encouraging to take suhoor, even if it is only with a few sips of water. You should take something for suhoor, even if it's only a few sips of water. وَيُسْتَحَبْ تَأْخِيرُهُ إِلَى وَقْتِ انفجار الفجر. It is recommended to delay the suhoor until right before Fajr, right when the first around the time of the false Fajr, that's the time you should start taking your suhoor. لو استيقظ إنسان وعليه جنابة أو طهرت الحائض قبل طلوع الفجر. And if a person were to wake up in a state of janaba, right? You wake up in a state of janaba, or if the woman who was on her cycle, she becomes pure from her cycle stops just before Fajr, right? She or he should start with suhoor first. Start with the suhoor first before ghusl, before making ghusl, right? And then after the Fajr actually comes in, you've taken your suhoor, then you go and you make ghusl and you make your prayer like this. Start with the suhoor and then begin your fast, and you can delay the ghusl up until after Fajr has actually come in. وبعض الناس يباكرون بالتساهر لأنهم يسحرون معظم الليل. So he goes on to censor and rebuke an action of some of the people, and that is some of the people that take suhoor very early. They take suhoor very early. Why? Because they stay up all night. They stay up all night. Maybe they're doing something, halal, such as whatever, talking, chatting. Maybe they're doing something haram or something of no benefit. Maybe they're watching TV. Maybe they're watching a movie. Maybe they're doing something which is of no fa'idah whatsoever. But they stay up, right? They stay up, and then once they get tired, once they get sleepy, they say, okay, I don't want to miss suhoor, so I'm going to eat my suhoor now, and then go to sleep, right? They've departed from the sunnah, because the sunnah, as we have heard, is to do what? Delay the suhoor, right? Delay the suhoor, take it closer to the time of Fajr. But this person takes suhoor very early and then falls asleep. So he says that, in this lies a number of mistakes. Firstly, they started fasting before the fasting time. They started fasting before the time of fasting. The second mistake is يتركون صلاة الفجر مع الجماعة. Oftentimes you find that by doing that, they will abandon the Fajr prayer with the Jama'ah. They're going to abandon the Fajr prayer with the Jama'ah. He says, and so therefore they are disobeying Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala by leaving off what is obligatory in order to take to something which is simply mustahab, right? And that is the suhoor. Now, the third mistake which they're making is رُبَّمَا يُؤَخَّرُونَ صَلَاةَ الْفَجْرِ عَنْ وَقْتِهَا. Is that perhaps they will even delay the Fajr prayer beyond its time, because maybe they don't pray it until they actually wake up. Even if they don't wake up until close to Dhuhr, they're not going to pray the prayer until they wake up. He says that, and this is the most severe of the three in terms of crime and in terms of iniquity. Allah Ta'ala says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. He mentions this term wail, barakallahu fikum. It has a number of meanings, right? One meaning of wail is that it is a severe threat. A severe threat. Another meaning of wail is that wail is a valley in the hellfire. It's a valley in the hellfire. And the third meaning of wail is that it is the hellfire itself, right? Whatever the case, he said, wailul lil musallin. The wail is for the musallin. Who is he speaking about? One thing the scholars they point about here, they point out, is that what is required from us is establishment of prayer. Establishment of prayer. For this reason, anytime establishment of prayer is mentioned in the Quran, it's mentioned in a praiseworthy fashion as being amongst the characteristics of the believers, those who establish the prayer and pay the zakat, right? But when simply praying is mentioned, just praying, right? Just praying is mentioned normally in a blameworthy fashion, like what we find here in this verse. Wailul musallin. Woe to those who pray, right? And so this is because establishment of the prayer has a number of affairs along with it. One is you make the prayer in its time. You perfect your wudu, your purification for that prayer. Make it in jama'ah for the men, right? You fulfill the conditions, pillars, requirements of prayer, right? And you perfect the prayer. That is all a part of establishing the prayer. But he mentions here, wailul musallin, and the wail is for those who pray, right? Those who are not establishing the prayer, they're just making the hollow type of movements of the prayer like this. But then he clarifies who he's speaking about more specifically. الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Those who are negligent of their prayers. They're negligent. right? And they delay the prayers beyond its time. This is a type of negligence. So labud now he transitions here to another topic. Labud and yanwi as-siyam al-wajib min al-layl. It is a must that we have the intention to fast at night. Some of the scholars say it's sufficient at the beginning of the month of Ramadan that he makes the intention to fast for the whole month, right? But some say no, the intention has to be made every night. Every night, a person has to make the intention. And the place of the intention is the heart. It's not a particular formula that you say. It's not a thought that you think in your mind. And it's the drive and the determination inside the heart to complete this act of worship, right? Now, he says, فَلَوْ نَوَى الصِّيَامِ وَلَمْ يَسْتَيْقِظْ إِلَّا بَعْدَ طُلُوعِ الْفَجْرِ فَإِنَّهُ يُمْسِكُ. And as long as he intends to fast, but he does not wake up. If he does not wake up until after the Fajr has already come in, then he continues to withhold. He continues to withhold, and his fast is sound and correct, inshallah. It is recommended that one hasten the breaking of the fast. They will hasten the breaking of the fast. Either to haqqaqa ghurub ash-shams, once it is known and actualized that the setting of the sun has occurred, by way of seeing it, or the preponderant thought that he has is that the sun is set. The sun is set, I'm sure of it, the sun is set. Now, by way of being informed by someone who is trustworthy, or trustworthy individuals called the adhan, or other than it. It is coming in the third of Sahal ibn Sa'ad الساعدي رضي الله عنه أن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال لا يزال الناس بخير ما عجلوا الفطر. He said the people will continuously be in a state of goodness as long as they hasten the breaking of the fast. Hadith agreed upon. قال عليه الصلاة والسلام فيما يرويه عن ربي. Likewise he said in that which he reported from his Lord, أن أحب عبادي إلي أعجلهم فطرا. The most beloved of my servants to me are those who are the quickest in the hastening of the breaking of the fast. The sunnah is that one break his fast upon dates, upon moist dates, upon rutab or moist dates. And if one does not have dry or moist dates, then upon tamar or dry dates. And if one does not have dry dates, then upon water, based upon the statement of Anas. كان النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يفطر قبل أن يصلي على رطبات. The Prophet عليه الصلاة used to break his fast before praying upon moist dates. And if he did not have moist dates, then upon dry dates, and if he did not do that, then he would take a few sips of water. Now we bring this question, right? Okay, Zamzam water or dates? What's it better to break your fast with? Zamzam water though. The dates? You sure? Better than Zamzam water? Yes, okay. The dates are better than even Zamzam water, right? Dates are better than Zamzam water. Now, much less Deer Park or any other kind of water. We say this because some people they don't like dates that much, right? So they will have an opportunity to break their fast with dates, but they will go for the water, right? So we say break your fast with the date. Take enough to break your fast, right? This is better for you. Then take water, whatever you want to take after that. And simply breaking the fast, not sitting down and eat your whole meal before you pray Maghrib, right? Break your fast. Maybe you take a little snack or something like that. Break your fast, because some of the people, they will sit down and eat their whole meal and then pray later, right? They pray later. By this time, Maghrib been gone out. It's time for Isha. Right after Isha start a week, right? So break your fast now, then pray your Maghrib, and then eat your meal, eat your dinner, whatever the case may be thereafter. This is that which is best. It's how the Prophet would do it, alayhi salam. Now, وهنا أمر يجب التنبيه عليه. Here he mentions another affair which is obligatory that we draw attention to. هو أن بعض الناس قد يجلس على مائدة إفطاره. Some of the people may sit at the dinner table, ويتعشى, and they eat dinner. We got to Salat al-Maghrib mal Jama'ah, and leaving off the Maghrib prayer with the Jama'ah in the masjid. فَيَرْتَكَبْ بِذَلِكَ خَطَأً عَظِيمًا. And by way of this, he has committed a grave mistake, and that is that he has avoided or stayed back from the Jama'ah in the masjid. ويفوت عن نفسه ويفوت على نفسه ثوابا عظيما. And he allows himself to miss out on a tremendous reward. And he exposes himself to the punishment of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. والمشروع للصائم, so what is the legislative for the fasting person is that he break his fast first, ثم يذهب إلى الصلاة, then he goes to the prayer, ثم يتعشى بعد ذلك, and he eats dinner after that. He says it is recommended that أن يدعو عند إفطاره بمن أو بما أحب, is that he supplicates at the time of breaking the fast. That he make dua at the time of breaking the fast with whatever dua he likes. As the Prophet Muhammad, he says, إِنَّ لِلصَّائِمْ عِنْدَ فَطَرِهِ دَعْوَةٌ مَا تُرَى. There is indeed for the fasting person at the time of breaking the fast a dua that is not rejected. That is not rejected. Now, and from the du'as that have come, that he says, Allahumma laka sumt wa ala rizqika aftart. O Allah, for you I have fasted, and upon your rizq I break my fast. There are other supplications besides this, such as dhahaba al-dhama wa talat al-uruq wa thabat al-ajr insha'Allah, that the veins, that the thirst is gone, the veins have been quenched, and the reward is confirmed insha'Allah. Hadith reported by Abu Dawood from the hadith of Ibn Umar. There's some speech regarding the authenticity of the second narration, the second dua. Some have said it is authentic, while others say that it has some weakness in it. Allah knows best. وهكذا ينبغي للصائم وللمسلم يتعلق أحكام الصيام والإفطار وقتا صفة حتى يؤدي صيامه على الوجه. He says, المشروع الموافق للسنة الرسول عليه الصلاة. It is proper and befitting for the person and يتعلم that he learn, the legislative rulings of fasting and breaking the fast in terms of the time and the description and the likes of this, in order that he can perform his fast in the proper legislated manner that corresponds with the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salam, so that his fast can be correct and sound. So his fast can be correct and sound. And don't wait, because you find that some of the people, they don't study the rulings of fasting. They rather wait until something happens and then they come and ask a question after it didn't happen, right? No doubt, the cure for ignorance is to ask a question. If you have a need to ask the question, you ask the question. But arm yourself with knowledge. Arm yourself with knowledge. Study these affairs before you embark upon them, so that you're armed with knowledge of the Kitab and the Sunnah. Now, he says that فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَهَمِ الْأُمُورِ, for that's from the most important of affairs. He mentioned the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla, قَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. There is indeed for you in the Messenger of Allah an excellent example for the one who hopes for Allah on the last day. وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا, and he mentions, or he remembers Allah Ta'ala much. Now, we stop there, Bismillah Ta'ala, pick up again from the Mufsidat as-Sawm in the next lesson, inshallah. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أيوة.